but I wanted to be completely honest because you and I both hold this player in high regard.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow. We hold him in high regard. He was a true freshman sensation. Chris Leak was the guy early on. There was the Tebow package, the jump pass. We know all of that. I want to get to that in a minute. But when we talk about special, is it not, how do I phrase this? How is it possible that Cam Newton was not the player at Florida that you're like, holy,
well, I think
that's the guy.
It is funny. You get to the quarterback deal first with people at two in a room when you had Chris Leak and Tim Tebow on a national championship team. With Swamp Kings coming out, it's going to be really fun to kind of watch how this all played out. But Tim would come in sensation. We charted it. He played about 10% of the snaps, and Chris played 90% of the snaps.
Right.
But Chris knew the package. And when Tim came on, he was going to do things that Chris really was not comfortable doing. And it made the team great. And that was a lot of pressure on Chris, but Chris was the one that got to hold up the crystal ball at the end of the season. And he knew that if Tim could come in and do these things, I'll get to hold the ball. I'm the one on stage that gets handed the ball. And that's part of the interior of the room that everybody knows. And it was hard for Chris because Tim would run on the field and the place would go crazy. And then when Chris would go back on, and it was a little like not always that would happen, but that's the situation. I think when you had Cam Newton, so Tim's sophomore year, he wins the Heisman Trophy. Cam's a true freshman, and you're looking in this situation saying, okay, wow, this Cam's really talented. He can do some amazing things. Can't wait to get him on the field. Still young, still learning. So it comes into the next year. And I remember that after spring practice and Urban's looking around the room. And he's like, okay, all right, quarterbacks, like thinking it's going to be the quick conversation. Okay. Who's the best quarterback? I said, well, the most talented is probably Cam, and all of a sudden, like just crickets in the room, and Urban, you could just see him like kind of turn, if you know him, he gets a little bit red. It's like, oh, you better get the National Guard in front of your house if you're going to play Cam Newton over Tim Tebow. Like, I'm going to make sure everyone knows where you live.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.